We are here on Mori today because there have been some rumors that Kenjaku is the parent of both Yuji Itadori and Choso. We just got the results of the DNA test. Kenjaku, when it comes to 15-year-old Yuji Itadori and his older brother Choso, you are the father. Jujutsu Kaisen has been going crazy lately. I can't believe we only got one more episode left. Before I cover this week's episode, I kinda ran out of time to do last week's episode, so let me just quickly sum up episode 21. Yuji and Todo were still jumping Mahito. Mahito locks in and uses 0.2 second domain expansion just like Gojo. That 0.2 second domain expansion was more than enough time for Mahito to target Todo's hand and hit Todo with a black flash. Todo is looking heavily damaged and ends up with... Wait, hold up. Is Todo using a stand?
This is what they said. Looking for a boyfriend. I see that.
Todo switches places with Yuji and Yuji hits Mahito with a black flash. Todo is badly wounded and Gege violates yet another one of my favorite characters. Mahito goes through a metamorphosis and starts boxing with Yuji. Both Yuji and Mahito are badly injured, but just as the fight seems like it's about to end, Todo hits Mahito with the craziest pump fake of 2023. Yuji charges up his Jaja Ken and sucks Mahito with a black flash. Mahito realizes he's cooked and Yuji begins coming to terms with him and Mahito being the same, showing us a beautiful parallel between Yuji and Mahito in the snow, the rabbit and the wolf, the prey and the predator. Where you go, I go. What you see, I see. I know I'd never be me without the security of your loving arms, keeping me from harm. Alright, nice. Now that we're up to date, let's get into this week's episode. This episode starts off by showing us the damage and destruction caused throughout Shibuya. I doubt that even a single non-sorcerer survived. Panda is in his gorilla form and is looking for Kusakabe, and Kusakabe just looks like he wants to go home. He ends up telling Panda that if the Jujutsu higher-ups want to execute Itadori, he won't object them since Gojo is sealed. I mean, you have to look at it from Kusakabe's perspective. He doesn't know Yuji and this is probably the first time he's ever met him, so the only interaction that he has with him is with Sukuna. Something worth noting is that no one can see the marks Sukuna has on his face when he appears as Yuji. Only us as the viewers can see those marks, so everyone else in the show just sees Yuji, even though Sukuna has taken over. That's why in season 1 and even later in this episode, you'll see people asking whether they are talking to Yuji or Sukuna, because you know they can't see the marks. Now the next scene is so out of pocket that I decided I had to go to the authorities and snitch myself. Silence in the courtroom. Today's defendant is Mei Mei from Jujutsu Kaisen. She's standing trial for 3 counts of grooming, 16 counts of fraud, 2 counts of insider trading, 1 count of extortion, 1 count of indecent exposure involving a child, 4 counts of money laundering, and 48 counts of influencing the actions of a minor. The jury panel has found you guilty of all charges listed above. I hereby sentence you to 26 consecutive life sentences. Once you pass away, you will serve an additional 900 years, which you will begin serving in the afterlife once you get to hell. All jokes aside though, this is extremely wild and out of pocket, and I don't know why Gege keeps writing this into his story. Mei Mei used Weebi's ability to transport them to Malaysia, where she seemingly is selling all of her assets and giving away insider info in exchange for money. The fact that an objectively bad person like Mei Mei managed to survive Shibuya and wake up in a luxury apartment in Malaysia, whereas a good person like Nanami died being unable to go to Malaysia, just shows you how great the parallels and realism is in Jujutsu Kaisen. We cut back to Itadori, Mahito and Geto, and at first it kinda seems like Geto was protecting Mahito from Yuji, but this guy begins yapping away about the Edo era and the anatomy of different curses.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass.
But amongst all of the yap, he says something that kinda piques my interest. We all know that Yuji defeated the real Geto in JJK 0, but right now Kenjaku explains that if Geto hadn't spread out all of his curses, he would have beaten Yuta. Itadori is looking in bad shape right now, but just like the rest of us, Mahito was tired of hearing Kenjaku yapping and tries to sneak him. Mahito ends up telling Kenjaku that he's always known that he was going to betray him, as Kenjaku absorbs Mahito. Damn, Kenjaku really third-party Yuji's kill. I'm happy Mahito is gone, but I would have loved for it to have been Yuji that, finished him off. Kenjaku continues yapping about his curse technique, and he basically explains to Yuji that the maximum Uzumaki takes cursed spirits and condenses them into this dense cursed energy that can then be used to attack opponents. From my understanding, the technique works on a similar theory as a black and white hole. First Geto absorbs the cursed spirit, and then he can spit them out and release them at will. Man, I really hope he's not about to swallow that, man. I remember Geto in season 2 was really swallowing them things. Okay, yeah, here he goes. Here he goes. Oh my god, man. Did they really have to give us a close-up? We cut over to the Kyoto students trying to fight Kenjaku, and this is the prime example of what happens when Gege decides to mutilate half of the main cast. Because tell me why we have Jujutsu Kaisen's B team out here fighting with one of the main villains of the story. Miwa makes a binding vow to never wield a blade again, so she can try and slice Kenjaku to try, get revenge for Mekamaru, but she gets stopped with one hand. Now, what I need to know next is why Kenjaku decided to use his ultimate, his strongest move, on Miwa. This is the equivalent of using your special move on a level 1 NPC. Yeah, that's me, and you're probably wondering how I ended up here in the first place. Luckily for Miwa, the realest character in Jujutsu Kaisen came through and saved her. Choso joins the battlefield and he ends up giving us a crazy lore update. Choso basically said that he has 3 parents. His mother, a cursed spirit, and a guy named Kamo Noritoshi who added in his own DNA with Choso. From this info, we basically gather that Kenjaku is at least 150 years old, but most likely even older. Cursed spirits can impregnate humans, and that Choso and Yuji are somehow related by blood through Kenjaku, meaning that Kenjaku somehow or some way had something to do with Yuji's birth. Choso is angry at Kenjaku for almost making him kill his last sibling, but just as he's about to fight him, Urarame steps in between them and protects Kenjaku. Choso locks in and sends a piercing blow towards Urarame and starts absolutely going crazy against Kenjaku. Kenjaku is clearly way stronger than Choso, but Choso is really displaying amazing growth compared to his fight with Yuji. He's really out here bloodbending like Prime Katara. Panda, Yuji and Kamo are confused as to what Choso is talking about, and brings up a valid point in that Todo also thought Yuji was his brother. After everyone telepathically decided that it's time for another JJK jumping, Todoroki uses his ice powers and freezes everyone. Itadori manages to escape and freeze Choso, but in the midst of battle, Choso tries to get Itadori to call him Oni-chan, which I found pretty funny. Momo comes through and uses her wind scythe, but Todoroki just slaps it away. Momo and Miwa are really going band for band on who has the worst stats. Urarame uses her freezing ability again, but just as she's about to freeze everyone, Yuki comes through and saves the day. Oh, my type? I mean, hey, I think we can work something out for real. Like, you're free on Thursdays? Hey, guys, I'm playing. I can't believe there's only one more episode left of JJK. I'm really gonna miss this show. But hey, if you enjoyed the video, you can watch another one of my videos right here. Drop a sub while you're here too. So, peace.